Check your bank account right now. Seriously, pull it up. Look at the last 30 days of charges. How many of those are subscriptions? 5, 10, 20? Now here's the uncomfortable truth. You think you own things, your car, your home, your music collection, your software, your movies. Hell, maybe even the heated seats in your BMW. I have bad news for you. You don't own any of it. You're renting. And by 2030, it's going to get so much worse. The average person will own 70% less physical assets in 2030 than they did in 2010. 70%. That's not a prediction from some conspiracy theorist. That's the trajectory we're already on, backed by data from McKinsey, Deloitte, and the companies actively building this future. Last month, I did something that genuinely shocked me. I audited every single subscription, lease, and recurring payment in my life. The number? $47,000 per year. Not to own things, but to access them, to rent them, to borrow them temporarily from corporations that can revoke my access whenever they feel like it. And I'm not even living extravagantly. I'm just living normally in 2026. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's being taken from you, who's profiting from it, the psychological tricks they're using to make you think this is normal, and most importantly, the one strategy that could actually save your financial future before it's too late. Because here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't about convenience. This is about the largest transfer of wealth from individuals to corporations in human history, and it's happening so smoothly, so gradually, that most people don't even notice. Let's start with how we got here. Rewind to 2010. You wanted music? You bought a CD or an MP3. $15, maybe 20. You owned it forever. The artist got paid. You got the music. Transaction complete. You needed software. You bought Microsoft Office for $300. It was yours. Version 2007, 2010, whatever. It worked forever. No monthly fees, no internet connection required, just software you owned. Movies? You bought the DVD. $10 to $20, it sat on your shelf. You could watch it whenever you wanted, lend it to a friend, sell it at a garage sale. It was yours. Now look at 2026. Music? You don't own anything. You pay Spotify $10 to $15 every single month. Stop paying. Your entire music library disappears instantly. You've paid them for 10 years, doesn't matter. Stop the subscription, lose everything. Software? Adobe Creative Suite used to cost about $1,300. You paid once, you owned it for years. Now, it's $55 per month, every month, forever. That's $660 per year. Over 10 years, that's $6,600 for software you will never own. Movies? Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Paramount+, Apple TV. You're paying for all of them because the content is fragmented, and you own exactly 0 movies. They can remove content whenever they want. Remember when Sony deleted movies people had purchased from PlayStation? Yeah, that happened. This is the subscription economy, and it's not an accident. It's a deliberate, calculated business model that Wall Street absolutely loves. Here's why corporations are obsessed with this model. Predictable recurring revenue. When you bought a CD, that was a one-time transaction. The company got $15 once. Done. They'd have to convince you to buy another CD next month. That's uncertain revenue. Wall Street hates uncertainty. But a subscription? That's guaranteed money every single month. It's predictable. It's stable. It makes the company's valuations skyrocket because investors can project future earnings with confidence. Netflix doesn't have to convince you to buy a movie every week. They just need to keep you subscribed. The psychological barrier to canceling is way higher than the barrier to not making another purchase. This is the razor blade model on steroids. Gillette figured out decades ago that you sell the razor cheap and make your money on the blades, but at least you own the razor. Now, you don't even own the razor. You're renting the razor, and the blades, and the shaving cream, and the mirror, and the bathroom sink. There are 3 pillars holding up this entire system. Pillar 1. Software as a service. That's your Adobe, your Microsoft 365, your cloud storage, your productivity apps. Everything that used to be a one-time purchase is now a monthly fee. Pillar 2. Products as a service. This is where it gets really dystopian. Physical products that you think you own, but you're actually just renting. We'll get into this in detail, but think car subscriptions. Think Peloton bikes that are bricks without a membership. Think smart home devices that stop working if you don't pay up. Pillar 3. The culture shift. Access over ownership. This is the psychological warfare part. They've convinced an entire generation that ownership is outdated, that it's burdensome, that it's unsophisticated. Minimalism isn't just a lifestyle choice anymore. It's being weaponized to make you feel good about owning nothing. Let me break down exactly where your ownership vanished. Category 1. Digital assets you no longer own. Music. Let's do the math. In 2010, you might buy 20 albums a year. That's $300. You own 400 songs forever. In 2026, you pay Spotify $180 per year for premium. After 10 years, that's $1,800. You own 0 songs. Cancel the subscription, you have nothing. By 2030, if you've been subscribing for 20 years, you've paid $3,600 and you still own nothing. Movies and TV. A DVD collection of 100 movies might cost you $1,200 over several years. You own them. You can watch them anytime. Netflix, Disney+, HBO Max, Hulu, that's about $70 per month combined. That's $840 per year. Over 10 years, $8,400. You own 0 movies. They can remove your favorite show tomorrow. You have no recourse. Software. Microsoft Office 2010 costs $300. It worked for a decade. Microsoft 365 costs $70 per year for basic, $100 for family. Over 10 years, that's $700 to $1,000 and you own nothing. Stop paying, the software stops working. Books. A physical book costs $10 to $30. You own it forever. You can resell it, lend it, keep it on your shelf for decades. Kindle Unlimited is $12 per month. That's $144 per year. $1,440 over 10 years. And here's the kicker. Amazon can delete books from your Kindle remotely. They've done it before. Remember when they deleted 1984 from people's devices? The irony was not lost on anyone. Category 2. Physical products becoming services. Cars. This is where it gets really insane. The average car payment in America is $736 per month. That's $8,800 per year. After 5 years, you've paid $44,000. If you financed it, you might own it at the end, might. But now we have car subscriptions. Volvo, Porsche, BMW, they all offer subscription services. You pay a monthly fee, you get a car. You don't own it, you can swap it out. Sounds convenient, right? The average car subscription costs between $700 to $1,500 per month. That's $8,400 to $18,000 per year. You will never own a car, ever. And even if you do buy a car outright, you might not really own it. Let's talk about John Deere tractors. Farmers are buying tractors for hundreds of thousands of dollars. They own the physical tractor, but John Deere has embedded software in these tractors that prevents farmers from repairing them. The software is proprietary. If something breaks, you can't fix it yourself. You have to pay John Deere's authorized technicians. You bought a $300,000 tractor. You don't actually own it. You can't repair it, you can't modify it. John Deere controls it through software. This is the future of ownership. You buy the thing, but the company retains control through software, through subscriptions, through proprietary systems. Home appliances. Peloton is the perfect example. You buy the bike for $1,400, but without the monthly subscription, which is $44 per month, it's just an expensive clothes rack. The bike doesn't work without the subscription. You bought the hardware, but you're renting the functionality. Smart home devices. Your Nest thermostat, your Ring doorbell, your smart fridge. They all work better with subscriptions. Some features are locked behind paywalls, and if the company decides to shut down the service, your smart device becomes a dumb brick. Category 3. The hidden subscriptions. This is where it gets dystopian. BMW tried to charge a monthly subscription for heated seats. The hardware is already in your car. You paid for the car, but to turn on the heated seats, you need to pay a monthly fee. They backed off after backlash, but they tested the waters. This is coming. Tesla charges for full self-driving as a subscription, $12,000 up front or $199 per month. The hardware is in the car you bought. You're paying to unlock software. Phone features. Apple charges for iCloud storage. Your phone has a camera, But to back up your photos, you need to pay monthly. Android does the same with Google One. Gaming. You bought a PlayStation 5 for $500, but to play online you need PlayStation Plus, that's $60 per year. You bought the console, but you're renting the ability to use it fully. Let's do the math. Let's audit the average household's annual subscription spending. Streaming services. Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon Prime. That's about $70 per month, $840 per year. Music. Spotify or Apple Music. $15 per month, $180 per year. Software subscriptions. Microsoft 365, Adobe, maybe Grammarly, maybe Canva. Let's say $100 per month, $1,200 per year. Car payments or leases, $736 per month on average, $8,800 per year. Phone plans, 2 phones in a household, $150 per month, $1,800 per year. Cloud storage, iCloud, Google One, Dropbox, $20 per month, $240 per year. Gaming subscriptions, PlayStation Plus, Xbox Game Pass, Nintendo Online, $30 per month, $360 per year. Fitness apps and memberships, Peloton, Apple Fitness, Strava Premium, $100 per month, $1,200 per year. Smart home subscriptions, Ring, Nest Aware, security systems, $35 per month, $420 per year. Meal kits, HelloFresh, Blue Apron, $60 per week, that's $3,100 per year. News and media, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Medium, Substack subscriptions, $40 per month, $480 per year. Productivity tools, Notion, Evernote, Todoist Premium, $20 per month, $240 per year. We're at $22,660 per year, and I haven't even included rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, or the dozens of smaller subscriptions people forget about. Add in housing costs, and yeah, you're easily hitting $40,000 to $50,000 per year just to access things you don't own. Now here's the gut punch. What if you actually own these things? What if you invested the difference? Let's say you cut $500 per month in subscriptions. That's $6,000 per year. Invest that in an index fund with an average 8% annual return over 30 years. You'd have $745,000. $745,000. That's the true cost of the subscription lifestyle. That's not just money you're spending, that's generational wealth you're giving up. But here's what they're not telling you about 2030. Here's where this gets really dark. Because everything I just showed you, that's just the beginning. The subscription creep is accelerating. And what's coming next is going to fundamentally change what it means to be a human being with agency and autonomy in a capitalist society. But that's part 2. If you want to know what's really coming, if you want to know how to fight back, if you want the actual strategies to protect your wealth and your freedom, you need to watch part 2 immediately. And subscribe, because this subscription is the only one that will actually get you something free that you can use forever. Knowledge. Welcome back. You made it to part 2. That means you're serious. That means you actually want to understand what's happening to your money, your freedom, your future. Good, because what I'm about to show you is going to make part 1 look like a warm-up. In part 1, I showed you the $47,000 annual subscription trap. I showed you how you're hemorrhaging wealth just to access things you think you own. But that was the present. That was the world as it exists today. Now we're going to talk about 2030, and I need you to understand something. This isn't speculation. This isn't fear-mongering. This is already happening. The infrastructure is already being built, the business models are already being deployed, and most people have no idea what's coming. Let's start with housing. Right now, homeownership in America is at a 70-year low for people under 40. 70 years. We're going backwards. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Private equity firms have spent the last decade buying up single-family homes. Blackstone, Invitation Homes, American Homes for Rent. They've purchased over 600,000 single-family homes in the United States. 600,000 homes that will never be sold to families again. They're being converted into permanent rental properties, and they're not stopping. By 2030, Analysts project that institutional investors will own 20% of all single-family homes in major metro areas. 20%. You know what that does to prices? You know what that does to your ability to ever own a home? It destroys it. But wait, it gets better. Or worse, depending on your perspective. These companies aren't just buying homes. They're pioneering the home as a service model. You don't just rent the house, you rent the furniture, you rent the appliances, you rent the internet router, you rent the smart home system. Everything is modular. Everything is a separate subscription. Everything can be adjusted, upgraded, or removed based on your payment tier. Can't afford the premium package this month? Great. Your thermostat now only goes to 65 degrees in winter. Sound dystopian? It's already happening. A company called Bungalow is doing exactly this in 12 cities right now. By 2030, this will be normalized. Now let's talk about food. You think meal kits are the end game? You think HelloFresh is as far as this goes? Wrong. The food industry is moving toward complete subscription control. And I'm not talking about meal kits. I'm talking about your actual grocery shopping. Amazon Fresh, Walmart Plus, Instacart Plus. These aren't just delivery services, they're building dependency. Right now they're offering convenience. By 2030, they'll have so much market share that traditional grocery stores in many areas will be gone. And when they have you locked in, when you have no alternative, what do you think happens to prices? They go up, obviously. But here's the really insidious part. These platforms are integrating with smart refrigerators and pantry systems. Your fridge will track what you use. It'll automatically reorder items. It'll suggest subscriptions based on your consumption patterns. Sounds convenient, right? Until you realize you've outsourced one of the most basic human activities, feeding yourself, and you're paying a premium for the privilege. A recent study projected that by 2030, households using full grocery subscription services will spend 18% more on food than those who shop traditionally. 18%. Every year. Forever. That's not convenience. That's a tax on your laziness. Now let's talk about clothing. Rent the Runway started with high-end fashion. Rent a designer dress for a special occasion. Makes sense. But the model is expanding fast. Nuuly, Armour, Gwynnie Bee. These services are moving into everyday clothing, casual wear, work clothes, kids' clothing. The pitch is simple. Why own a closet full of clothes you barely wear? Just rent what you need, swap it out monthly, always stay fresh. And for some people, especially in urban environments with tiny apartments, this makes sense. But here's the math they don't show you. The average American spends about $1,800 per year on clothing. That includes everything: shoes, accessories, the works. A clothing subscription service costs about $80 to $200 per month. Let's say $150 average. That's $1,800 per year. The same amount, except at the end of the year, you own nothing. Zero. You have no assets, no clothes you can wear without continuing to pay. And if you stop paying, you're literally naked. By 2030, analysts predict the clothing rental market will be worth $2 billion. That's millions of people who will own no clothing. Think about that. Let's talk about transportation. You already know about car subscriptions. Volvo, Porsche, BMW. You pay a monthly fee, you get a car, you swap it out whenever you want. But that's luxury stuff. That's not the real story. The real story is that by 2030, car ownership for people under 35 is projected to drop below 40%. 40%. The rest will use ride-sharing, car-sharing, public transit, or micro-mobility subscriptions. Scooters, bikes, whatever. And the car companies are banking on this. Literally, GM has openly stated they expect to make more money from subscription services than from selling cars by 2035. Ford is investing billions in mobility services. These companies don't want to sell you a car anymore. They want you dependent on their ecosystem. Forever. And here's the kicker. When you own a car, even if it depreciates, you have an asset. You can sell it, you can trade it, you can give it to your kid. When you subscribe to transportation, you have nothing. Just an expense that never ends. Now let's talk about the control problem, because this isn't just about money, this is about power. When you own something, you control it. You decide when to use it, you decide how to use it, you decide when to get rid of it. When you subscribe to something, the company controls it. They can change the terms, they can increase the price, they can remove features, they can shut it down entirely, and you have zero recourse. Remember when Sony removed movies people had purchased from PlayStation, just deleted them? Gone. Remember when Adobe forced everyone onto subscriptions and killed perpetual licenses? No choice. Subscribe or lose access to your work files. Remember when John Deere started requiring subscriptions for farmers to repair their own tractors? Farmers who'd spent $200,000 on equipment suddenly couldn't fix it themselves. This is the future. This is 2030. Everything you access, everything you use, everything you need to function in modern society will be controlled by corporations who can change the rules whenever they want. You think I'm exaggerating? BMW tried to charge a monthly subscription for heated seats. Seats that were already installed in your car. You bought the car. You own the hardware. But to turn on the heaters, $18 per month. Tesla charges for acceleration boost. Your car can go faster. The capability is already there. But to unlock it, $2,000 or a monthly subscription in some markets. This is where we're headed. By 2030, your car will have dozens of features locked behind paywalls. Your home appliances will require subscriptions to function fully. Your phone will have basic features that cost extra monthly. And the worst part, the data harvesting. Every subscription service you use is tracking you. Your habits, your preferences, your location, your behavior. They're not selling you a service. They're selling you to advertisers, to data brokers, to anyone who'll pay. You're not the customer, you're the product. And the more subscriptions you have, the more data points they collect, the more complete their profile of you becomes. By 2030, the average person will have 75 active subscriptions. 75 companies with intimate knowledge of your life. That's not a business model. That's surveillance capitalism. Okay, pause. I know this is dark. I know this sounds like a dystopian nightmare. But here's the thing. I'm not here to just scare you. I'm here to give you the reality and then give you the tools to fight back. Because there is another side to this. There are legitimate reasons why subscriptions have exploded. And if we're going to be honest, we have to acknowledge them. Lower upfront costs, that's real. If you're a college student or someone just starting out, you can't afford to drop $2,000 on Adobe Creative Suite. But you can afford $20 per month. Subscriptions democratize access. That's not nothing. Always updated products. Also real. When you bought software in 2005, it was outdated in 2 years. You had to buy a whole new version. With subscriptions, you get continuous updates. For some products, that's genuinely valuable. Flexibility and convenience. Absolutely true. If you move frequently, if you travel constantly, if your life is in flux, ownership is a burden. Subscriptions give you the ability to access what you need without the weight of possessions. There's a reason millennials and Gen Z prefer this model. It's not just corporate brainwashing. It's a response to economic instability, housing unaffordability, and a mobile lifestyle that previous generations didn't have. And there's an environmental argument too. The shared economy reduces waste. If 10 people share one power drill instead of each owning one, that's 9 fewer drills manufactured. Better resource utilization, lower carbon footprint. That matters. But here's the question. Is this actually what's happening, or is this corporate greenwashing? Because when you look at the data, subscription models often create more waste, not less. Fast fashion rental services ship clothes back and forth constantly. The carbon footprint is massive. Electronic subscriptions encourage constant upgrades. More e-waste, not less. The environmental argument is mostly marketing. Don't fall for it. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a choice. You can accept the subscription future. You can rent everything, own nothing, and hope the corporations treat you fairly. Or you can fight back. And fighting back doesn't mean becoming a Luddite. It doesn't mean rejecting all technology and living in a cabin. It means being strategic. It means understanding the game. It means taking control of your financial future. Here's how you do it. Strategy 1. The ownership audit. Right now, today, you need to list every single subscription you have. Use an app, Truebill, Rocket Money, whatever. Connect your bank accounts and credit cards. Let it scan for recurring charges. You'll be shocked. Most people find subscriptions they forgot about. Gym memberships they haven't used in 2 years. Streaming services they signed up for a free trial and never canceled. Cancel ruthlessly. Use the 80-20 rule. 80% of your value comes from 20% of your subscriptions. Find that 20%. Keep it. Kill the rest. For everything you keep, calculate the 10-year cost. Netflix at $15 per month is $1,800 over 10 years. Could you buy the shows you actually watch for less? Probably. Spotify at $10 per month is $1,200 over 10 years. Could you buy the albums you actually listen to for less? Definitely. Run this calculation for everything. You'll see the scam clearly. Strategy 2. Strategic ownership. There are things you should own outright. Things that make financial sense. Things that give you control. Tools and equipment you use monthly. If you use it regularly, buy it. A good chef's knife, a reliable laptop, a quality tool set. Calculate the break-even point. If you'd rent it more than 10 times, buy it. Educational resources, books, courses, skills, these appreciate over time. Your knowledge can't be repossessed. Buy physical books. Own your learning. Don't rent access to information. Appreciating assets. Classic cars, land, precious metals, art, if you know what you're doing. These are things that gain value over time. The opposite of subscriptions. Energy independence. Solar panels, battery systems, water filtration. The upfront cost is high, but over 20 years you save massive amounts and you control your own resources. This is real wealth building. And embrace the buy-it-for-life philosophy. Pay more upfront for quality items that last decades. A good leather jacket, a solid cast-iron pan, a well-made watch. The per-use cost becomes pennies and you own it forever. Master the second-hand market. eBay, Facebook Marketplace, estate sales. Rich people buy things, use them once, and sell them for half price. Let them subsidize your ownership. Strategy 3. The hybrid approach. You don't have to be all or nothing. You can game the subscription system. Rotate subscriptions. Subscribe to Netflix for 1 month. Binge everything you want to watch. Cancel. Move to HBO Max next month. Repeat. You'll spend a fraction of what you'd spend keeping them all active year-round. Share subscriptions legally. Family plans exist for a reason. Split the cost with friends or family. 5 people sharing a Spotify family plan pay $3 per month each instead of $10. That's a 70% savings. Use free alternatives. Open source software is incredible now. GIMP instead of Photoshop. LibreOffice instead of Microsoft Office. DaVinci Resolve instead of Premiere Pro. They're not quite as polished, but they're free. Forever. And you own them. Build your own assets. Create, don't just consume. Start a side business. Build a skill. Make things instead of buying things. The more you create, the less you need to subscribe to. Strategy 4. Invest the difference. This is the most important one. Every dollar you save by cutting subscriptions needs to go somewhere. If it just sits in your checking account, you'll spend it on something else. Automate it. Set up automatic transfers to an investment account. If you cut $500 per month in subscriptions, invest it in a low-cost index fund. At 8% annual return over 30 years, that's $745,000. That's not theoretical. That's math. That's compound interest doing what it does. And that's the difference between renting your life and owning your future. That's generational wealth versus generational poverty. So here's your 2030 game plan. There are 3 paths forward. Path 1, full acceptance. You embrace the subscription economy completely. You own nothing. You rent everything. You trust corporations to treat you fairly. This path is easy. It requires no effort. It's the default. It's also financial suicide. Path 2, full resistance. You reject subscriptions entirely. You buy everything outright. You go off-grid as much as possible. This path is hard. It requires discipline, upfront capital, and sacrifice. But it gives you complete control, complete ownership, complete freedom. Path 3, strategic hybrid. You use subscriptions where they make sense. You own what matters. You invest the difference. This is the path I recommend. It's pragmatic. It's flexible. It's sustainable. You're not fighting the system blindly. You're playing the game better than 99% of people. By 2030, the people who follow Path 1 will be broke, permanently. They'll have spent decades paying for access to things they don't own. They'll have nothing to show for it. The people who follow Path 2 will be resilient, independent. but possibly isolated and struggling in a world that's moved on. The people who follow path 3 will be wealthy. They'll have assets, they'll have investments, they'll have options. Which path are you choosing? Because 2030 is 6 years away. That's not a long time. The decisions you make today, the subscriptions you cancel today, the assets you buy today, will determine your financial reality in 2030. So here's what you do right now. Open your banking app. Look at your recurring charges. Cancel 3 subscriptions. Right now. Take that money and set up an automatic investment, even if it's $50 per month. Do that today. Then subscribe to this channel because I'm going to keep giving you the brutal truth about money, power, and who's taking yours. No fluff, no BS, just reality. The subscription economy wants you dependent, compliant, broke. I want you wealthy, independent, free. The choice is yours. I'll see you in the next one.